Alright, what is up, New Air Tribe? I am Noon. This is Noon News with New Atu. I hope you're doing well today. Let's get straight into the message. Today's totem of the day is going to be the Wiz. This one is to help you embrace your inner sorcerer and master everything you attempt. Wow. So I'm being led as the flowers turn green here. I also want to point out that, a little bit off camera, I do have my beautiful burning bush here. And what it does is it has LED lights and it changes colors. And if you are familiar with the chakras, we have our white or purple, depending, for our crown. I like to say white is like above, it's the consciousness itself. Then we have our third eye, which is sometimes, black, or it depends on really. And then our throat chakras are blue, our heart chakras are green, our solar plexus is our gold, our sacral is our orange, and our red is at the bottom. It's our root chakra. You might see a little bit of smoke coming in through the screen here. And so this is what I really wanted to talk about too, is the Matrix. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get a nice playing card to see how we're showing up in the Matrix today. A lot of us have heard a lot of things about the Matrix. You know what? Queen of Diamonds, shout out. That's a pretty good one at the bottom of the deck. I'm just going to go until right now where it tells me to pull this, the Two of Hearts. So that tells me that you must remember that your soul is always in co-creation in this place that we call the Matrix. Now, I don't subscribe to the theory that we are in some kind of like computer simulation, but I think comparatively to wherever you think that you come from, whether it be, the cosmos or heaven or whatever it is, we must know that we are in a denser state here in the third dimension, which is just one above being flat, right? The 2D. Our consciousness is stored in our 5D. Sometimes we play 4D chess where we're kind of in the middle. I think that's kind of where we're ascending to, but just know that we're a lot denser than wherever our souls usually resonate, on whatever frequency that is at. So, that being said, I believe that this place, this life, feels a lot more like a simulation as opposed to being the literal light that we usually embody, the literal just energy, right? The source of everything in the universe. So, a reminder that we are technically in a matrix. I think that the programming is all within the mind itself. We can beat this programming, and a lot of you probably already have, which is why I'm kind of getting hung up. I think that this is for people who have already kind of realized this, but what we must realize too is that just like in the Matrix, how when they were unplugged and then they plugged back in, first of all, when they unplugged, they realized that the world is like crazy and we're living not the way that we're supposed to, right? There's a lot of things that are unnatural that are going on, but it also opens us up to the idea and the fact that we can be supernatural, especially within this 3D existence. Another thing that we need to remember is that even though the Matrix is simulated, and even though this being might seem simulated because you're contained to a vessel here, you must remember that we are all one. That helps a lot. But we also must remember that there are definitely agents in the Matrix who are a little bit more one with each other, also a little bit more hive-minded. We are one because we have figured out how to be individual and how to tap into that second circle of frequency where we're all going for our highest good, highest selves, and honestly the highest good of humanity. But we must remember that there are agents that come after you. They may manifest in density frequencies or limitations, right? But we must remember that at the heart of everything, we are limitless. That being said, when it comes down to, I'm sure some people wonder, what are the limitations then of the mind? Well, I just said they're limitless, right? But how can we affect density? How can we affect physical matter around us that is more dense? I think through practice. The same way that you practice to free your mind, some people would like to get into bending, to not just receiving things from the elements, but being able to actively work with the elements, the way that the moon pulls the tides. This might not speak to you, but if it does, I would say, in regards to the smoke, work with things that are a little bit less dense. In this reality, smoke is very free. It's almost one with the air, right? And so partnering with wind, partnering with smoke, and trying to, and even fire and flame, energy, trying to get yourself into a conscious state where you can then partner with that, I think is the first steps into being able to bring what we call the supernatural into the natural world, which is what the people who broke free of the Matrix in the movie were able to do. Another word of caution is to know that the Matrix is still real. This 3D is very, very real. A lot of people would like to unplug and be like, okay, well, this is all, a simulation. It doesn't matter. No, it matters the most. We see our people in struggle, our people hurting. That is all very real. Everyone who's come before us, everyone who will come after is very, very real. Even though a lot of people consider this to be an Earth school, school is still real. And so we know that in the movie, whenever they die in the Matrix, they die in real life, right? And now I'm not saying that your eternal soul is killed whenever you pass over to the next plane. Of course, time does not end. We are limitless. We are unending. We go to wherever we need to go after that. But just remember that the choices that you make here, if they are in regards to your eternal soul, and others, if they are not for their highest good, or at least with the intention of being good, because God and you are the only two who know your heart and your intentions. If they are not well, then just know that this is a very real space, and you can definitely hurt a lot of things that will affect a lot of things afterwards. We know about the butterfly effect. We know about people who have walked this earth who have done things who inspire people like you to even be here and get up out of bed in the morning. Yeshua being one of them, right? Martin, Gandhi, and one thing that they have done is establish that even though their purpose was greater and worth sacrificing themselves for, or worth the agents killing them for, their purpose could not be erased. That their butterfly effect, or rather their eagle wings, have created probably immense timeline shifts for us and inspired many people who are now carrying the torch the same way today. I think in the same way that you are guided to do that too. So just judging based off of our totem of the day being the Wiz and all this Matrix stuff, I just wanted to get that out there first, so that if anybody's planning on dabbling with any of greatness, really, just know that you can do it. Just know that there is a timeline out there where you are doing it, and all you have to do is find that timeline by putting it into practice, right? We don't get better at anything here without practice. That's why it's school. That's why we have time. Time is a teacher. Time will keep going on until we learn all the lessons we need to, until all is said and done and we are able to exist outside of time. And some people who walk this earth, I do believe, are able to exist in that way, in that frequency. Everything has a resonant frequency. Here we're approaching our first oracle of the day. Is Sobek's adaptability guidance. Be flexible in your approach to challenges, adapt to changing circumstances with ease, and find alternative solutions. Embrace spontaneity and let go of rigid plans. So if something is not working for you and you're coming up to a wall of what some might consider a state of stuckness where you're starting to feel more dense, maybe it is a form of damnation, then just know that you can always go over it, go under it, or go through it. At the end of the day, we are problem solvers. We are not in the box. The box has the same amount of degrees as the circle of life, the zero in the middle, centered. If we remain centered, we know that being in the box, we're actually not in the box. We are just doing our little Rubik's Cube here, trying to figure out what's the best way to approach this problem. So if you feel like even if time is the enemy, then let me know how you get over that, because sometimes I'll be feeling that way too. Nah, what you really need to do is slow down. Slow down. Have moments with yourself and be grateful for what you have. Just because you do not have what you're trying to bring in, what you're praying for, what you're manifesting, all this and that, just know that Hathor is guiding you and says to focus on balance and harmony in your relationships, engage in open and honest communication with those around you, and create a peaceful environment for your home or workspace. You must be able to live with those around you and within your own setting, and not necessarily be comfortable, because sometimes comfort is opposition to growth. But figure out how you can exist in a way that you are able to be at peace, especially if peace is something that you're looking to bring to others. It's very important that we go through these tests and trials and everything for ourselves before we are able to King of Diamonds, before we're able to give it to others and to show God, the universe, source, the Holy Spirit, all of it, that we are able to handle these challenges and tests and tribulations. And always make sure to be bold in your faith. But remember that there is levels to this stuff. So when it comes to faith, remember also that we should not judge lest we be judged, and that judging is wanting. And when you put a want or a judgment on something, then the opportunity for suffering is always going to be there. And so whenever you see others who are speaking a different languages and you think that they're worshiping a different God, but God knows their intentions, which is to reach the highest creator of all, we know that no worship is outside of God. The only thing outside of God is God. The only thing inside of God is God. The universe experiencing itself. It's all been set up this way, almost as eternal test to see how would you treat somebody who was, say you were born in this country and this is your way of life, but you're just a genuine, beautiful human being and you are, living through the Spirit the way that God tells us to, then what makes you think that you should be judged by somebody else living in another country who is doing the exact same thing, but because you were brought up with different heritages, because you're raised differently, because you have different ideas, that you should be punished for doing so? I do believe that those who believe that will probably be punished, but that could be me putting myself into a state of punishment. Who knows? I try not to judge at all. Now, taking into those oracle cards, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take some Nightmare Before Christmas playing cards. Now, these are not oracles nor tarot, but they are to a board game, and so I like to switch up all the different means and mediums, the same way that I like to study a lot of different major religions and cultures and people's beliefs, and mostly just to see how they reach for beauty in that way. This is one. Throw me a bone. Surprise. Search 6 to Igor, or if Finkelstein and Igor are in your Halloween town, search the discard pile. One creation. So throw me a bone. Throw yourself a bone. Here we have at the bottom of the deck on the Boogeyman Surprise. Each player targets a character with a scare number of 1 belonging to the player on his left and sends the character back to its owner's hand. So that is honestly, I think, kind of lining up, and it's all up to interpretation. Remember, if life gives you lemons, you can always ask for a different fruit. It's up to you to set your boundaries. The line does not get drawn until you draw it. So if people, this might be for someone, keep crossing your boundaries, maybe you just need to set your boundaries, dog. You can't really blame people for, honestly, I don't want to say walking over you, but for treating you a certain type of way whenever you have not set the precedent yourself. And maybe you're not treating yourself a certain type of way or allowing yourself to be treated a certain type of way. Definitely not victim blaming, but letting you know that in at least your social circumstances, you got to create the place that you want to see. So, as far as Throw Me a Bone still being on top here, and the Boogeyman, I do believe that judgment, putting that on others for something that they did not do or something that they are not, right? I think that just is a way for God to teach us a lesson, to probably scare us back into our faith or connection and listening really to whatever your faith believes, because I doubt that it's about separation. I bet it's actually about getting closer with God in every single way and knowing that we are all God's children. And so a big part of the Christian faith is everything that you've done for another, you have done for my Father in heaven, which sounds like we are very much connected. And I would hesitate to say, but I'm going to say, I think that the other side of that coin could be everything that you've done against another, you have done against my Father in heaven. Something to think about. And that's why the golden rule is to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And honestly, in placing judgment on anything or anyone can only really lead to suffering. I'm not saying don't have opinions. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But I think that those who seek destruction will receive just that. And so in the law of attraction, if you are seeking judgment, you might just find yourself in judgment. And it might be because you are afraid to judge yourself, question mark. So if you can't look in the mirror, Dr. Finkelstein 2, Mad Scientist, is pulling up, uh, and it's saying that Finkelstein is in the laboratory, then maybe you should do some reinventing, right, of yourself. Maybe you should go ahead and love and nurture yourself in the mirror. Stop judging yourself so hard, and build up what you want to see in others inside yourself, and allow them to be that. And I think you'll come to find that you love how individual and unique you are, and then you'll start looking for connection in that. It won't be that your uniqueness is what gives you separation, but in that what makes you unique, you're looking for in others too. And then when you don't find that, you're like, okay, cool, but what is special about you, right? Because we all have something super special about us, and that's all that we're connected to God. So how does God show up in others around you? That is something that you should definitely pull to become the Empress right here. God bless it. So if you're looking to level up, first, put some stuff into practice. Stop limiting yourself and your beliefs. Stop putting limitations on others, because we are limitless, right? And then go and practice. Write it down. Speak it back to yourself. Pray. Manifest. And then put it into physical action as well. You want to start waking up early? You got to start waking up early. You can do all the talking to yourself to wake up early all you want. I've been through it, trust me. But the only thing that's going to change if you want to wake up early is you're going to have to start waking up earlier, dog. And so if you want to go out there and get that money, you're going to have to start working, right? If you want to be creative, you're going to have to allot time out of your day. And that is why we have it, is to be able to teach us lessons and to be able to be creative with that time. And so if you want something, you got to go get it. And be ready to receive it as well if you've been working for it. If you're working for something supernatural, right, then you must be ready and open to receive it. Queen of Wands, right there. Shout out. Come on now. Come on now, guys. Can I get an amen? Spirits. Come on, man. Come on. So, in short, take it easy on yourself and others. But when it comes to your goals, never let anyone else get in your way. Even though we are all one, you cannot expect anyone else to give you anything, or to think like you, or to behave like you. You can encourage them to be their best selves and hope that you receive that same grace and kindness and mercy in return to be able to be your best self. And you can always cultivate that circle. So if you're not happy with your friends, or you're not happy with your job circumstance, I'm here to tell you there are other jobs. Especially if we're in America, then I'm here to tell you there are other jobs. We are so very, very fortunate to be in this country. I'm also here to tell you that you don't have to go with the crowd. In fact, going against the grain, the way that can be weighed is not the way, which means multiple things, but mostly that no one else's path is your own. And so if you're trying to copy someone else's, you can always take inspiration from someone else, but don't try to make it your whole identity. Make your own path. That is how you rise to be the greatest that you can be, because no one else can be the greatest you can be. No one else on this planet can be the greatest that you can be, right? Because it's going to be so individual and unique to you, and it's your own journey to go through. So stop holding yourself to others' limitations. Stop limiting yourself, and stop limiting others, because they are you. The only thing that you can do is help them grow and cultivate themselves along the way. And not like a parent, but like it's you. If you see somebody struggling in a way that you have, then give them a little bit of guidance. Maybe help them out with their situation a little bit if it is within you to do so. If you find that you're in a circle of people that you are not really clicking with, and it starts taking away from your energy, and you start feeling like it's a hindrance, then I'm here to tell you, you can stop. You can walk away. You can be without them, because the universe is going to respect that, because that is you drawing a line, creating a boundary, and saying, no, I want better. Guess what? I don't like lemonade. I'm sorry. The best possible outcome for me with these lemons is to have lemonade at the most, and probably just lemon juice, unless you give me like a nice, California burrito, and then I might put a little lemon on it, and even then I'd like a lime, so please give me a lime. And then it might throw you apple. You're like, okay, I can roll with this apple for a little bit. Take your treasures as they go. Be content, not be content. Be grateful at the very least for what you have. And then be like, oh yeah, but guess what? I would really like a pineapple. Because guess what? The first time you threw back the lemon saying, I want something else. So then it gives you something else. And then you're grateful for it. And then you get to decide from there. You get to level up. You get to decide what your real goal is. You get to decide what you would like. And that is growth. Be the tree. Keep growing. Keep shining. Remember, blessed is the one who walks not in step with the wicked, nor gets in the path of sinners. So sometimes if people are doing things that are not kosher, we'll just say, then I would say the best thing you can do is, if they're really a friend or you really care about them, and even if you don't, then maybe try to give them a little bit of advice. But if they're snapping back at you, or they just keep going and keep going, do not get in the path, okay? Because you cannot block them, and they will take them with you. Everything's always in motion. They will take you with them. So just get away from it. Do not sit in the company of scoffers. If there's people who are shutting you down, if they don't believe that you can be a waterbender, just know I do. I'm waiting for somebody to freaking do it, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't allot very much practice or time to it, but I'm waiting for somebody to just commit their life to doing that, and then show people that what we thought was impossible is possible, because it happens every single day. That one homie just ran a marathon. I forget at what time it was, but it was something that they said would never happen for 150 years. Didn't even know if human beings could do it. Look at Usain Bolt. Look at all the Olympians. Look at we are literally breaking our own limitations every single day. So continue to do so, because if they can do it, you can do it. Adapt what you like, throw out what you don't, and create. That is what the purpose of being co-creator is. It's not like, oh, I am God, I'm above all this. No, it's to be in service to yourself and to others. And so the rest of the verse goes, and who meditates on his law day and night. For he is like, for you are like a tree who has been planted in a stream, whose leaves never wither, and who bears much fruit in its season. Whatever you do will prosper. That's Psalm 1. So, whatever faith, whatever you believe in, even if you're just spiritual, keep learning. Keep learning. Even if you are devout to a faith, keep learning. There are so many crossovers in so many different religions that you have to, honestly, it's made me honor and respect God that much more, because of all the difference, like all the differences that are encoded but are really the same. And I'm like, wow, it really is all the same being, just being like so terrific that we all like recognize it in different ways. And that's why I don't think that it matters what you call it. It matters what your intention is, and that is what judgment is for. Know that nobody else is going to be there on your judgment day but you and God, and part of your judgment is going to be judging yourself. So get over it now, and don't get stuck in that cycle of putting yourself down. Know that God wants what's best for you. Do not be afraid of what's best for you, and to go out and get it and create it. Create it. How else would the Creator like you to connect but doing what the Creator loves to do, which is creating, and what you are meant for, right? Not to be in this rat race. And I know that it's tough in this lifetime, because we have a lot of powers that be who are kind of keeping us in this cycle where we're not necessarily able to create. We don't have a lot of time for ourselves. We're in a very unnatural state, right? But there is a way. And this phone or whatever device you're looking at through the internet is a great way to learn. Look at frequencies, look at the different powers that they might hold. Everything's resonating at a certain frequency. This pyramid right here, they think that the pyramids were because that people back then knew what the resonant frequency was, not only of ourselves, which we're just starting to learn again, but also of different things around them that could make things lighter. The Levites, the ones that were able to hold the Ark of the Covenant, some people say it's accredited to levitation in the songs that they would sing or the devices that they would use, because the Ark was made up of many different conductors, and people would say that they'd be basically zapped to death whenever they touched it. That's a frequency thing too. It's a great bearer of energy. And I'm not trying to downplay God at all by bringing science into it. I'm trying to uplift how beautiful creation is and how powerful this all can be. and how powerful you can be, because your power lies in the Spirit that connects us all. We're all one. Keep on your journey. Keep trying to manifest and pray and master self. And from there, just know you've done your job. Even if no one else sees the world the way that you do, good. It's probably really beautiful. And if you find yourself as a little bit more of a pessimist, then that's okay. On one side of balance is order and one side is chaos. But just remember that we need both to be in harmony. So when it comes to the shadow side too and making mistakes, just know that your mistakes are all for a reason. Nothing is outside of the will of God. It's all to teach. It's all to get better. That's all we can do. The universe is constantly a mirror of itself, and we're only going upwards in a spiral. Like your soul, like the spirit, the eternal flame, the pillar of fire. All those good things. You already know this stuff though, and I was just here to remind you because I am you. And just a reminder, this has been New News with New Atu. God bless, while love, Yah guide, and be new, or whatever you want to. And I will see you on the next episode.